Hey Reddit, what are your tricks techniques for getting to sleep when it's just not happening? I imagine things I want to dream about. Eventually the imagining descends into light sleep. A lot of the time it involves me saving people or fighting monsters. I may have played too many video games. That has the opposite effect on me. My imagination will run wild and I will start doing things like coming up with heavily detailed backstories, logging the entire journey, fake conversations, character development, etc. I have lost entire nights doing this. Melatonin works for me, but if you take too late, like 4 AM, you may be really groggy when you wake up. You can get it at a health food store. Relax each part of your body, bit by bit. What I do is lay flat on my front and start at my feet. Imagine them essentially sinking into the mattress. Then move on to lower calves, knee area, thighs and so on. After spending a few minutes on each section, I usually don't remember making it past my waist. They run you through this process in birthing classes. Do not have children to get to sleep faster. This does not work. The best technique I have for going to sleep is to mentally accept that I might not. If I lay down and think worst case scenario, I'll just lie here comfortably for the next X hours. That doesn't sound too bad. I pretty much immediately fall asleep. This is the only thing that works for me. If I don't have any cannabis, usually it is the anxiety of knowing I won't be well rested that keeps me up. Lay the wrong direction in your bed. Head where your feet go. A change of scenery usually gets me to sleep right away. As an insomniac I support this action. I used to try to think of fantastical things. Fighting dragons, having superpowers, winning the lotto. Those things actually made me more awake sometimes. Now I think of repetitive, slightly mundane things that are still sort of interesting. Building a wall of interestingly shaped bricks, for example. Building anything, really. I don't do construction in any way but this seems to help. Absolutely. Every night I travel to an icy windy place freezing cold. I then build a nice cozy place. I have a way to magic resources. By the time I have a nice cozy spot I have fallen asleep. I open 2 tabs on my computer, set one to rain sounds, and one to old Timmy jazz. Turn the lights down low, make my bed and get into it, and read. If all else fails, add a shot of whiskey or a mug of cocoa. Never fails. Bonus. If you have a cat, try to get it go lay near your feet. Rhythmic purring knocks me right out. I have a mental game I play and it works every time. Choose a category, i.e., items in my bedroom, things found in a grocery store, name brands, etc. And then go through the alphabet finding a word for each letter that fits in the category. Grocery store example, A, apple B, bananas C, carrots D, donuts. I've been doing this game for a few years and have never made it to Z. Something about it relaxes my brain and once I get stuck on a letter, I usually fall asleep. It forces you to think about something simple and therefore stops your mind from wandering. I'm pretty sure this would keep me awake. I make an asserted effort to tell myself I need to stay awake, even if I know it's bulls. Telling myself I need to be awake and laying there forcing my eyes to stay open for 10-20 minutes usually makes my body give up and shut down. This is a trick I learned from my days as a competitive swimmer when I needed to chill out before a race and relax my body mind. Working from your toes up to your head. Tense each muscle for about 5-7 seconds. Then relax them. So you start with your feet, squeeze them tight. Then you do your feet and your calves. Then feet, calves and thighs. Then feet, calves, thighs and abs, etc. Eventually you tighten up your whole body for 5 seconds. Each time you tighten up and then relax you'll feel like you're sinking into the ground bed. By the time you do your whole body, you feel like you're submerged in the ground by about a foot. You can also combine this with mental relaxation techniques involving deep breathing. It might not put you to sleep like a double dose of Prozac but it should help free up your mind a bit. I listen to music, Philip Glass, psychedelic rock, shoegaze, top 100 hits sometimes because I have a radio and it's more convenient to use that. +1 for the shoegaze trick. Put on slow dive and you'll fall asleep in a blissful state in no time. Try and get myself into a lucid dream. I continually fail at lucid dreaming, but it puts me into a deep sleep every time. Done this many times. I try, it never works, but I still get to sleep. The usual stuff. Don't eat 6 hours before bed. Get lots of exercise in the morning, and eat food low in fat, sodium and sugars. Avoid caffeine and other stimulants. Now, if you've done those things and still having problems, it's time to take it to the next level. Build a vibrating bed. If you can afford it, build a bed that rocks as though you are on a small boat on calm seas. Now, instead of a mattress, get yourself the softest sand you can find. It's up to you whether you cover the sand with something or just lay directly on the sand. Next, you'll need to adjust your lighting. You can go with the hundreds of very soft LEDs to simulate starlight, or you can go more advanced and try to create a very soft moonlight as well. It's important to remember that these must be the only sources of light. Otherwise the room has to be completely 100% pitch black. Wind, not a crappy electric rotating fan where you lay and wait for the next breeze, but an advanced wind machine that fluctuates but always continues to blow a warm breeze. Since the breeze will be using warm air, you'll have to insert a humidifier blowing humidity into the airstream. You'll want to keep the room itself slightly cool. That way your body appreciates the warm breeze. You'll need some white noise, industrial style white noise, but also whatever other soothing sound you might enjoy. Since you're sleeping on sand in a slowly rocking boat in the middle of the ocean covered in stars, you would want to add a tin roof to keep potential rain out. So as you sleep next to the loud vibrating motor, you can hear the rainstorm smack against the tin roof of your boat with the distant sound of thunder echoing over the open sea. I fell asleep just thinking about that. Hold my breath for 5 seconds. Breath out slowly. Wait for 5 seconds. Inhale slowly. Repeat. Doing this for as long as I can be bothered usually has me asleep within a few minutes of finishing. I do this often as well and it really works. It also helps me when I have anxiety. Lick my index finger, touch the center of my forehead. Focus on the dot on your head. Inhale while saying in your head. Deep. Exhale sleep. Lolwood. Count backwards from 1000. It takes your mind off of whatever is keeping you awake. I was skeptical of this method at first, but I have never made it past 850. This unfortunately doesn't work for me because instead of whatever I was thinking about before, now I'm thinking about counting. Chamomile tea works for me. Sometimes. Usually nothing does, though, so I'd love to see some more creative suggestions here than melatonin. No offense to those who get results. It just seems to make matters worse for me. I'm amazed this is so far down. Chamomile tea and valerian root, and hops, but less so, and I think maybe just in combination with one or both of the others, are amazing aids for sleep. Chamomile tea to chill out as well, if you need to de-stress. Just close your eyes and stay as still as humanly possible. Your mind thinks your body is asleep and automatically follows suit. I have 2 techniques. 1. Listen to instrumental music on a 1-hour timer. No vocals, unless it is in a language you don't understand, or driving rock music. 2. Use a visualization exercise. Mentally visualize something like a tree, paying attention to the details like the bark, the leaves, the individual branches, the roots and the dirt and so on. 1. Stop trying and do something else until you're exhausted. 2. Go to bed at the same time every night and try to have the same routine before you sleep. 3. White noise helps. I sleep much better if I have a fan running. I put on a crappy American sitcom. The repetitive noise of the canned laughter puts me to sleep. 2.5 Men and Big Bang Theory are great for this. Either this, or a movie I've seen a lot before. Something that I know well, so I'm not interested in the story and keeping myself up more by concentrating. I visualize an all-dark room with one window. Then I visualize sealing the window completely with darkness, blocking out sounds and thoughts. Well, it works for me. I've got several techniques. Fapping, as has been mentioned, is definitely productive, as is eating carbs, though it's never good to have a meal before bed. But when I need to get to sleep, sandwich generally helps. Also, counting sheep, as ridiculous as it sounds. I picture a sheep jumping a fence, And I count those suckers generally get to about 150 before I start getting real tired. And also can recommend reading, but not a good book. I get hooked on that crap. I've also found having a beer or two can help with relaxing too. Again, this depends on why you need to sleep and how much time you have to sleep. If it's only a 30-minute nap, then you have to drive, probably not recommended. Problem with this is if you're having a big sleep, you'll probably need to wake up twice to take a pee. Get your room cleaned up more if it's not tidy already. Some people have a tough time sleeping in a place with a lot of clutter. Go for a walk and try to relieve some excess energy if that is the issue. If you're stressed about anything going on in your life, write out the problems you're worried about on a piece of paper along with some things you can do to make it better tomorrow. Remind yourself that there isn't anything you can do in the moment. Turn the paper upside and try to sleep again. White noise helps a lot of people. Melatonin can be bought at health food stores, most grocery stores. I've never had any side effects from it. It helps you get sleepy and keeps you sleeping deeper. In the future, try only ever using your bedroom for sleeping and trying to keep your sleep schedule regular. If you regularly go to bed at the same time and only ever sleep in your room or on your bed, it should help it become more instinctual. I had two methods to accomplish this. One I started as a young child and another only a few years back. The first, imagine yourself floating in space. Hold yourself very still. Now imagine you are swinging in that space. I would imagine swinging from head to toe as opposed to from side to side. The swing's arcs get larger and larger, and eventually you're asleep. The second method I developed to quiet a noisy brain. Whilst lying face up in bed, I held my body completely still. Then, I projected the imaginings of my brain, twice its size, to fill my field of view, or shift your mind's eye or imagining eye to the back part of your head and shrink it down, so you have the appearance of looking in on what's going on in your brain. Picture a central conduit, like a water jet vortex going up the center, trickling down the outside and pooling into the vortex again. Look for all the sparkling areas of activity. Shut them down one by one. When you're ready, shut down the water jet vortex and, by that point, everything gets fuzzy. I can no longer imagine, and I'm off to sleep. Sometimes my sleep apnea kicks in, but I usually find this effective when trying to sleep with high stress. Considering how difficult it is to describe, I doubt it would work for anyone else save me. Just accept you're going to feel like crap tomorrow. Get up and get stuff done. Even if that is only reading a book, watching a movie, or gaming. The longer you lie there fretting that you're not getting to sleep, the twitchier you'll become. I read for 20 minutes, then try to sleep for 20 minutes and then repeat the cycle until asleep. Reading makes my brain shut the frick up on those especially hard to sleep nights. I read online news articles on Discovery or Popsy using my phone. I go through a bunch of articles, but eventually fall asleep. Reading Ask Reddit in the same way also does the trick for me. If I can't sleep because I'm thinking about everything I have to do, I write it down. If I don't, I spend hours thinking I have to remember to get my lunch out, and I'll have to take the other bus, and when I get to work I have to ask my boss about. I used to take ages to get to sleep because of that, but now it's way easier because I'm not worrying. You know how when you close your eyes it's kind of black static looking? It's not just flat black. Anyways, I visualize shapes in them, usually a growing or shrinking blob. I concentrate only on the shapes and put all other thoughts out of my head. 1 or 2 over-the-counter sleep aids. Take them early so I can get a full 8 hours of sleep. I don't like the Unison brand that is just Benadryl. For your information, buy generic Benadryl. It's way cheaper than Unison and same ingredient, because I don't like the way it makes me feel. There is another one with the ingredient doxylamine succinate, and that stuff is light but puts me into a very natural sleep within 30 minutes. Honestly, I just can't stay awake after that. Knocks me out in at most 10 minutes, 12 if you count the time it took to finish. There's a few different guided meditation and deep sleep videos on YouTube that put me to sleep in minutes. Lavender tea always gets me drowsy too. Focus all your attention on your breathing. Your mind will wander. Keep bringing it back to your breath. Steadily slow your breathing as much as possible. Don't think about anything else. This takes practice but works for me every time. I mentally relax my body by starting at my toes and, in my head, not out loud, saying the name of body part and telling it to relax. That usually works. Also, I try reading a book. Watch any of the BBC documentaries which are narrated by David Attenborough. Very interesting and always a good watch, but there is also something about his voice which works wonders. If I'm in bed tossing and turning for more than 45 minutes, I'll get up, grab a book, and go read in the living room until I'm really tired. It seems like laying in bed and fuming over how I can't get to sleep is one of the worst things to do. Going to another room for a while helps a lot. For me, I have a strict bedtime routine so that by the time I've completed the routine, I've slowly become conditioned into that being time for bed. I brush my teeth, take off my makeup, wash my face, check my webcomics for the evening, then set my alarm, turn on a little white noise and bam, I'm out like a light. It's all a conditioning process. However, on the occasions where I just can't fall asleep, I take a really hot shower so that makes me feel relaxed and I'm too drained from the hot water temperature to do anything else. It lulls me into sleep instantly. My insomnia tricks include switching so my feet are where my pillow used to be and my head's at the foot of the bed. Not sure why this helps, but sometimes it's enough. Other times I will lay still and count the different sounds I hear. If all else fails, I go watch infomercials or a shopping channel like QVC. I have a system that dates back a ways. I first take 3 or 4 deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Visualize all of the day's thoughts exiting out when you exhale. Now this is where things get weird for me. Substitute with whatever works for you. I am Daniel Lee Rousseau painting the fence. I hear Mr. Miyagi say up, I paint up the fence while inhaling and pause until I hear Mr. Miyagi say down, then I exhale with a downward brush stroke. Repeat until I wake up. Interrupt your thought process and then think to yourself. Continue. I'm listening, then listen for your next thought. Then listen for the one after that. You can only put energy into thinking the thoughts or listening to them. So the thoughts should stop if you're trying to listen out for them. Short after your thoughts stop, you should fall asleep. As a kid, my father told me to imagine I was a sniper waiting for my target. I had to lay really still and keep my eyes open till I could take a clean shot. Trying to keep myself awake while laying still put me right to sleep. Try the ABCs. Think of a category, US cities, books you've read, movies, and then go through the alphabet. You'll probably fall asleep before finishing, but if you do, go through it again. Works like a charm to distract your mind and help you doze off. This is a visualization self-hypnosis technique I use. I lay on my back and close my eyes and imagine my room exactly how it is, just like if my eyes were open. Then out of the ceiling, a warm, sticky syrup oozes out in one long strand and touches the middle of my forehead. As it slowly spreads out over my body, it feels warm and relaxing. And all the muscles it touches instantly relax and get stuck wherever they happen to be. After my whole body has been covered in this relaxation syrup and all my muscles are relaxed and I'm completely stuck to the bed, I realize that I'm not in my room at all, but on a bed in a big elevator. I look at the floor counter over the door and see it's on the 25th floor. The elevator starts moving down, slowly at first, and with each consecutive floor I get more relaxed. The elevator moves more quickly then, and by the time it reaches floor 0, I'm as relaxed as I imagine I can be. Then the elevator goes down even further. There are 5 more floors below 0, and with each one, I get 10 times more relaxed than the last floor. By the time I'm down to floor -5, I'm more relaxed than I even thought possible. Then I heard a voice say go to sleep, and wake up more energized than ever before, and then it happens. That works for me, at least. Most of the time I don't get past the first part. I personally do some breathing meditation. Usually my mind is too active and keeps me up, so I just take deep breaths and focus on the movement of air throughout my body. You could also look into California poppy extract. It's a natural sedative, so you will feel drowsy and won't want to move, but you can still control your sleep. Unlike scary stuff like Ambien, lavender and chamomile are also popular choices. Sleep tight. I get out of bed. I go sit in the most comfy chair in the house. with a throw blanket if it's cool. I either read or play mindless games on my phone, like cribbage or solitaire. My secret: once I get sleepy, I don't go back to bed. I sleep in the chair. I am convinced that one of the issues with sleeping in bed, at least at times, is that lying down is only one option for sleeping, and not always the best one. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.